Did you guys get the notification? Say, there we go.
Lovely.
Yep.
Okay. So, hi everyone. So I'm Erica. I'm one of the go-to ambassadors this year, and that's David. You probably recognize David's face from something or the other, but he's obviously one of the coordinators this year. And this, for the people who have the pleasure to not have met him yet, is Kieran Henderson, or Hendo.
Hello, everyone.
Hendo was previously a student in Maynooth and he's now graduated. So this is literally just a quick chat just to show you guys that graduation does happen and you will move on and you will use your degree somehow. So we're just going to chat to Hendo, and yeah, so you take the floor, Kieran. So tell us about yourself and where you are now.
Right, so I guess I'm starting in 1997 in the hospital now. We won't start that year. We'll start at 2016 we'll start. So I left secondary school. I started Maynooth University in 2016. I originally started as an art student. To be honest, I wasn't quite sure at the time what I was even going to study. It was just a case of I knew I wanted to get out of school. I didn't like school, didn't enjoy school, it wasn't for me. But I had this kind of vague idea that I'd probably do history and English, which is people who know me know that's nowhere near what I even ended up with. But I started anyways, and I sampled some of the different subjects that were on offer. I ended up trying law. I ended up really enjoying it, so I decided to pursue law. And I thought, well, okay, business sounds pretty nice, so I'm going to join in with law. So I ended up picking my 3 subjects, which were law, business, and English. I dropped English in my second year. I went on to graduate with a degree in law and business. I then went on to do a master's in 2018, which was in global legal studies. I'm set to graduate. Well, I technically graduated, but I'll have my virtual graduation on Friday. And I now work for PwC. Stands for PricewaterhouseCoopers. They're an accounting firm in Dublin. And I work as a company secretarial associate. So I deal with the more legal side of things. And that kind of incorporates both aspects of my undergrad and that. I'm working in a fast-paced business environment. I have my own company clients that I deal with, and I make sure that they're compliant to Irish company law. So that's kind of my background right now, up to now.
That sounds so confusing. I just knew, all I knew was that Kieran had a big boy job. I didn't really know.
I think at the start I was trying to figure it out at the start, but I think we're getting there now. I think after I'm a few months in now. I was actually meant to start end of March. That got postponed to about mid-April because of COVID-19 and being in lockdown. So I've not only started a new job, but I've started pretty much working at home from the get-go, which provides its own unique challenges. But only recently I've started to be back in the office, and I've only actually met some of my teammates in the last month or so, which is a bit strange. I haven't even met everyone yet. There's 10 members of my team, and I've met about 7 of them now. But we'll hopefully meet the rest of them fairly soon. But I'm settling in and I'm enjoying what I'm doing, so that's good.
That's good. So obviously I mentioned that you were an access student when you were in Maynooth.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind just telling us like what access route you got into college through, and then just maybe detail some of the supports that were there for you when you were in college.
Yeah. So I was actually fortunate enough to qualify for both the Here and the There scheme. I applied for both, got both, it worked out. I remember as a result being told about this orientation program called Launchpad, and I remember seeing it and thinking, "Oh, I don't want to go to that. That's not for me. Staying overnight around people I don't know." I was like, "No, I'm not going to enjoy that." I remember going back and forth with my mother about it, and I ended up going. And I know you said about supports and stuff, but I think I have to mention Launchpad first of all, because Launchpad as a whole, I think has been a fantastic support for me. I think I went to someone who maybe wasn't the most confident, who probably lacked self-belief in himself. And I suppose I was uplifted by a lot of the people that were around me, a lot of the ambassadors I had at the time. I think that pushed me to go on further and become an ambassador, but we'll go into that. And then in terms of the supports the access officers have given, from a hair standpoint, I suppose the financial benefit was a big one for me. I come from what be considered a working class area with a single mother, so certainly wouldn't have had that much money growing up and going into college. So to have the opportunity to get book vouchers each year, it was a big benefit. You know yourself, Eric, law books, they're expensive. Do you know what I mean? But that's across the board. You know, books are expensive, so it's obviously a massive help to have that each year, to be able to get some books, and it obviously really contributed towards my learning. And then obviously the student assistance fund as well, which was very helpful to me in first year. And then from their standpoint, I was able to avail of exam accommodation, which was very helpful to me. I was in a smaller classroom, which it was probably more like a typical leaving cert classroom, but when obviously you're in college and you're in a joint lecture hall with 200 plus, potentially up to 200 people doing an exam, from myself anyway, I probably would have struggled with that. So to be in a smaller classroom was a big help. There was also certain technological supports in terms of some software that I would have had on my laptop that would have been helpful towards my learning. I also had a live scribe pen, which was very helpful for me in lectures, where basically I could take down notes on this notepad and I could actually record the lecture. And that was great for me as someone who probably would have struggled with concentration, especially when I was in first year. That would have been a great benefit, as I could take down notes, I could record the lecture, and then I could listen afterwards and pick up stuff that I probably wouldn't have listened to in the actual lecture. So yeah, there was quite a range of supports, and obviously the office itself, like in terms of just the people that were in the office, you know, you could message anyone, you know, whether it be Martha, Simon, Gemma, or whoever. You could drop them an email, and it could be any reason really. You could go in and you could have a chat with them, and they'd just be very supportive and helpful with whatever your issue is really. So yeah, there's a range of benefits that come with availing of certain schemes, but then it's also the people in access that you meet. I think for me personally were probably the biggest benefits of all. So of course, obviously. But, yeah.
Okay, so that's great to hear that range of supports. That I think for the new students, like there are so many supports available, like regardless whatever your need is, like even if it's not something they have normally, like they'll find something for you. I think that's really important to know.
And that's the key, and it's just once you're reaching out, if you reach out to the office about anything, they will do whatever they can to help, and that's what's important. I'm sure there's so many other supports that I didn't avail of that are out there that, you know, all it takes is a simple message or a phone call, and you'll be able to benefit a lot from it. So
absolutely. So then you became a map ambassador then,
yeah.
which a lot of that term is kind of being thrown around, and I know in the handbook there's kind of a like discussion that I wrote, sorry, about what being a map ambassador is and like how you can become one. So like what inspired you to become a map ambassador, and what were your favorite, like if you could pick like a few moments that you really like, a few activities you enjoyed as a map ambassador?
Yeah, so I suppose what inspired me to be a map ambassador was, to be honest, probably my own ambassadors. There's so many great things about Launchpad when you go and you experience, but I feel the most beneficial of all is the human interaction you have with other ambassadors, because they're the people you learn from. They're the people with first-hand college experience that have been there, done that, whatever it is. You know, it doesn't matter. You can't get that anywhere else, and it's such a big advantage. But I remember I was blown away by my ambassador that was assigned to me, and another ambassador. I was just blown away by their confidence, by their ability to just bring people together and not worry about what other people think. And you know yourselves with Launchpad, and certain things can maybe be a bit cringy, and you can maybe look and think, oh, you know, I don't want to do that, you know, if someone sees me or my mate's going to record me, I'm going to look like this or whatever, you know. But I remember looking at my ambassadors just thinking, oh, I want to be like that. That's, especially, and as I said about coming out of school and maybe not being in the happiest place, even to see that it's inspiring. And I suppose like I looked at that thinking, well, if I could be that person for someone, that would be massive. I suppose like I did 5 launch pads. I was an ambassador, a head ambassador, and a 2-time coordinator. So obviously for everyone watching, that's going to mean nothing to you. You'll learn about all the different terms, I'm sure, throughout your time. But yeah, sorry, I got that losing track. Sorry, but
Okay.
so
like you made a really good point there of like just stepping out of your comfort zone, and that, like,
yeah, 100%.
just kind of the words to it, where it's like, if people are, it can be confidence at some point, or it can just be a few seconds of bravery at the same time, where it's like, if you see someone doing something, you're like, I could make that a good laugh, or like I could make a fool out of myself for a few seconds. Like, it's just about going for it and jumping into that situation. Like, you of all people know that with your last 2 launch pads.
It's so cool. And I suppose actually, to come back to it, so it's like throughout the years of doing it, it was all the skills that I've learned and I've honed that are probably beneficial to when you leave college, whether it be communication, teamwork, innovation, leadership. Like, these skills are so in demand by any business, any company hiring, and especially any company hiring graduates. You gain all of these skills from doing Launchpad and becoming an ambassador. And, you know, especially when there's so many ambassadors and there's so many different personalities, and obviously the people coming in on the various games, you're dealing with people from all backgrounds, but then there's also, you know, you will come to realize that there are people with, you know, say, hidden disabilities that you don't know about, and it's how do you go about dealing with these people. Obviously it's different attitudes, it's different mindsets towards different people, and kind of knowing what works. But you gain a lot as being an ambassador. And I think I always come back to, and in my job interview for my current job, you know, I spoke so much about Launchpad, and I spoke about all the skills that they wanted, the communication, teamwork, leadership. I was able to show it all through Launchpad, and showing it by being an ambassador. So the skills you gain, the skills hold you so much.
Absolutely.
Really.
So you would then recommend kind of to any incoming access students that you think being a MAP ambassador is a good idea?
Oh, absolutely. I think, first of all, do Launchpad and just try and get the most out of it. I know it's virtual this year, so
yeah,
it's a very different experience, and a difficult experience, obviously, for, you know, there's going to be a lot of people who probably have never used the webcam before, who've never used the likes of Microsoft Teams or Zoom or anything like that. So it's quite daunting. But I know from my experience, when I was coming in as a first time student, it was daunting for me to come and stay overnight. It wasn't something I was particularly comfortable with doing. I wasn't mad keen on being sociable. But I think when you put, you don't always have to push people to be out of their comfort zone. But I think if you try and push yourself out of your comfort zone even a little bit, it could make all the difference to you long term. I think that happened for me. So I'd recommend people to get the most out of it. And if they enjoy what they do, then they should definitely look into becoming an ambassador for the next few years. And hopefully next year you'll be able to be on campus for the weekend, and you can get the authentic Launchpad experience, because that's what it's all about.
that's it. And then I suppose, just in case there's anyone watching this, which feels so weird to say, that doesn't know, that Launchpad is normally like a 3-day residential experience. So then us as ambassadors would be paired with like X number of students, and we kind of, it's kind of the same activities that you guys are doing online, but like in person. So obviously I think being in person brings its own anxieties for students and ambassadors, but then obviously being virtual brings its own anxieties and worries too, because like, what if people don't know how to use the technology and stuff? But if you guys decide to become MAP ambassadors, like Launchpad is normally kind of the first big thing you do, I suppose. I'm probably right in saying that, am I?
It is, yeah.
Launchpad would be the first chance that you get to become a level 2 ambassador. So from doing your Launchpad after your interviews, you actually get to go out to schools as well. You get to take part in different activities as well. Like Erica, you took part in the Mountjoy project this year. Yeah. So like the College Connect program as well. There's so many possibilities from saying, like, even from what Hendo said there, just pushing your comfort zone that little bit by saying, I'll sign up to be a Launchpad ambassador this year. Like, it can only lead to more opportunities. And that's exactly what it does. As well as upskilling, it's opportunities. And like, as you progress through college, it's not a decision you're going to look back on and say, God, I wish I didn't do that. It's going to be one of those things you're like, wow, I'm so happy I did this. And that's
Absolutely.
the only way.
I think especially this year as well. Like, I know when I was going to college, one of my biggest worries was that, will I make friends? So I didn't know anyone going from my area. But I guess like as a student starting this year, that's probably a big worry that a lot of them have, is like, will I make friends? A lot of it's going to be online. But that's why I would definitely recommend signing up to be a MAP ambassador, because it's such a good way to meet friends, such a good way to meet people. Like, most of my friends I know because I did Launchpad, because I decided to be a like, it's a very close community. So like, that's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to move on to this as well, is that, you know, it is a great way to make friends, and it might make this virtual first year a little bit easier, you know. So then I suppose my last question then, if you have anything else you want to add on, is what advice do you have for the incoming access students, if any?
Words of wisdom right here.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I would say to embrace everything, the good, the bad, and the indifferent. Because I think every experience that you will have, not just at Launchpad, but throughout your college experience, will shape you for many years to come. my college experience wasn't plain sailing by any stretch. I think it was certainly a lot more good than bad. But there were some tough times. You know, certain things don't go your way, whether it be exam results or you might feel the pressure of you know, your studies on top of you. But it's all part towards building something where, you know, if you have your hard times and you come through them, you'll be better off for it. So that's why I say embrace everything, embrace every little challenge, every obstacle, but the good times you're going to have, because you are going to have the best 2, 3, 4 years of your life. I promise you. Once you're back on campus, but even if forgetting that, it's just Maynooth is like no other place. I think,
Yeah.
And I have many friends who went to other colleges, and I just feel like Maynooth is just out on its own in terms of the people you will meet, and and even the people in Access, it's like it's all like-minded people. It's people that are like you, that are friendly, that want to make friends, that are also motivated, that they want to do well, because they might have came from difficult circumstances, as I'm sure some of you might have. And it's about overcoming. And there's many success stories that have come even in the current ambassadors, and I'm sure you'll get to know many people that have great success stories. You know, David Lyons, Ryan Lynch, just to name off the top of my head, but there's many more that won't come to me. But you know, you'll learn about these people, and there's going to be new people that are going to make, you know, wonderful success stories, and it's can't wait to see.
That's a really new line you have there. I was hoping you would go with your one that you told me.
I'm a salmon of knowledge. What did I say?
Yeah. The first thing.
Every time.
So Hendo was actually my ambassador when I came into my launch pad, and one of the first things he kind of said, I don't even know if he remembers, he said it that night, but we were all sat around like in blocks. So obviously that part isn't going to be there, but it's still one of those messages that I'm going to be saying at Launchpad this year again. You get what you like put into Launchpad. Yeah. So if you put a lot of effort into making friends and like taking part in activities and like, you know, really pushing your comfort zone again, you're going to get all of that back. So like I tried to do that as soon as I heard that message, and like even just looking at my first lecture, I got to sit between two mates who I'm graduating with tomorrow. Like
that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Not like that. I was the same. Like I one of my friends from Launchpad, I made. I hardly spoke to her at Launchpad, but she had texted me because she was like, "Oh, you're doing law, and I don't know anybody, so can I sit with you?" And then I met another friend through her, and then we graduated together. We became best friends, and that's just part of the experience, you know. So
and it's insane. Like I feel like everyone has those stories about people they met at Launchpad. You know, I know I do. It's insane, and it really is such a close bond because you know that they're also coming through their own struggles because everyone's coming from an access route. So I think it's really one of those stronger friendships, and they're so easily made. But that's the thing. And like David and Hendo were saying, a lot of stuff, of course, this year is different because it's online, but we still have so many sessions. There's so many things you can jump into on this virtual launchpad. So definitely sign yourself up for as many sessions as you can. Get people's emails, get people's Snapchats, you know, get talking to people, because the ambassadors in each session are doing their absolute best to make this launchpad good for you and help you make these connections, you know? Yeah.
It's a great chance to make connections. Like it could be as simple as some of the subject panels that'll be running up. Like if you see someone and they say like, "Oh, I'm from Donegal," and they say it out loud, you may as well like shoot them a message and be like, "Hey, I'm also from Donegal. Maybe we could be travel buddies or that." Like I know that's one of the most comforting things when I was getting the bus every weekend, knowing someone else who was traveling all the way to Donegal, because that can be a boring 6-hour journey at the end of the day. You really do want mates for that.
That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it'll be fine. It'll be good. I'm really jealous of anyone starting college this year, like having it all ahead of you. I sound like such an old woman, but like I'd love to do it all again. I really would.
I think if you said it to anyone, I think they'd want to do the college experience again and take that little bit of like, oh, if I did this one little thing, I could like, I don't know what kind of door it would have opened up, and that's the beauty of it.
That's 100%.
Yeah, honestly, so grab it with both hands, guys, because we all did, and we wish we could do it again. So, definitely. Yeah. So, does anyone else have anything to add, or if not, I'll end it here because this is supposed to be kind of short.
Yeah, I think that's probably
cool.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Hendo, for doing it. We really appreciate it a lot. When I hang up, this saves the recording, so I'm going to hang up now. But yeah, bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Best of luck.
Bye.
Bye.
Are we still recording?